gentleman that I do have coming on, he is very impressive. He's one guy that I actually met in the beginning of the time that I started. He was great. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna go all out, balls out, and have at it. And he's gonna explain how he went from a $50K a year job to doing this, do wholesaling full time, to owning his own rental, having it, and continuing to increase his productivity in his business, and hopefully be able to make a lot more money throughout this time. So I think he said he wants to get to 300K by either the end of this year or the end of next year. I'll let him tell it. But so far, his first year, he did 80K. So going from a 50K a year job to making 80K your very first year is very impressive. Most people do it when they come out and they hit it. They just they stumble and they end up making half of what they were making. So really got to commend him on doing that. I'm very happy to have this guy here because he honestly has been out here, he's been out here working it and getting things done. So James, working on some, by all means, let me know what you got. We'll see what we can do. And I welcome, how's it going, Carson? How you doing?
Good, Randy. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. Can you hear me
okay? Thanks for giving me a chance to share a little stage with you.
Oh, thank you. So, further ado, Carson, let's introduce yourself here. And I told him the short story about what we have going on, and kind of let's hear, how did you get started? What was your first taste in it? We'll start off there, and all the way until you deciding at least wanting to quit your job.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you and I didn't talk too much about what this whole thing is, so I figured maybe I'd give you kind of where I start, where I came from, where I started, where I'm at today, and then just see what kind of where that leads to. But so my name's Carson Whaley. I am originally from Genesee County. If you know where that's at, I'm from Fenton, Michigan. That's where I was born and raised. I went to University of Michigan, and then jumped into dealership life at a car dealership when I was, I think, about 18, I think is what it was, 18, 19. It was like right after high school. So I did that for about 4 years. I was in the sales department, and then I jumped myself up to the finance manager. But during that time, like, I always knew I wanted to be like the captain of my own ship. It's cheesy, but I wanted to get in real estate. Like, I saw people in real estate and what they did for themselves, and I just knew, like, I can do the same thing. But in 2000 and what was it, 20? I think it was 2020. Yeah. So I was at the dealership for about 4 or 5 years, and in late 2019, what was it, 19 or 20? Time flies so fast. So This is my second whole year. So 2022. So actually, okay, so it was late 2020, December is when I really started to, like, try to get myself into the real estate space. And I was like, well, I know that all these guys that I look up to own real estate, so maybe I should just go out and buy investment property. And the further I thought about it and looked at, watch other people, it was like buying houses for yourself is great, but it doesn't really, like, change anything for you immediately. Like, you buy a house, let's say you do it the traditional way, and you buy something, you put a down payment for 20, 30 grand. That gets you a door, but, like, the average door after all taxes or after expenses, you're pocketing like $200-300, And I was like, well, I don't want to do all that just to put $200 or $300 in my pocket every month. Like, that's not going to change my life. I'm like, how do I actively like produce income like in an active manner? And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll be a realtor. And I was thinking about that, and I had a couple other guys reach out to me, and they're like, and again, I mean, I'm a realtor now, but like initially they're like, listen, you know, jumping from sales at a dealership over to becoming a realtor, you're doing nothing more than becoming a glorified salesperson. I'm like,
yeah.
Right. So I'm like, still after that, then finally coming across, like, you know how it is. You put so much stuff into Google, eventually Google starts feeding you stuff and Facebook starts feeding you stuff. And it was basically like flipping houses with contracts with no money, ownership, or anything like that. I'm like, this cannot be real. Well, the further I looked into that, I started learning like assignable interest and blah, 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 blah. And I seen a couple guys in my hometown talking about selling my assignable interest, blah, blah, blah. So I just reached out to them. And long story short, I was like already looking to cut the ties on where I was at, basically burn the bridges on the ship and not return. And I met some other guys up in Genesee County. They pulled a list for me. I think I got really, really lucky because I got a deal within a week. But then that was the start of it. So I got a deal in a week. I made $3K. I put it under contract, and then the other guys sell it because I didn't know that part of it yet. Obviously, you never do until you start. But long story short, I did that, and like that, like basically like proof in the pudding there. Basically, just said, I was like, you know what? If I can do this, if I can do it once, I can do it 100 times over. So quit the dealership, and I ended up walking away from the dealership like a month and a half later because I had a great relationship with them. And so like anybody, I guess, side note, like if you are looking to walk away from your job, don't do it with a bad taste in your mouth. Like, do it and don't burn those relationships. Like, even if you don't want to go back to what you're doing, it's still a relationship. And so I kind of just told them, like, here's what I want. Here's what I'm going to do. It has nothing to do with you guys, blah, blah, blah. And so March of last year is when I went full time with the wholesaling. And the first full year of last year, I did nothing but just wholesale, just rinse and repeat. And I guess fast forward now, it's really only been less than 2 years, but like when you stay consistent, keep your head down and just focus, things move really quick. And I'd say today where I'm at, for full disclosure, like now I own 2 rental properties. This year I've done, I'm looking at my sheet right now on Google Sheets. I've closed 24 deals with another 8 deals in the pipeline. Of those 8 deals in the pipeline, 6 are pending at the title company and 2 are still up for grabs. That's got me, but I got 2, so that's cool. Next year the goal is to do 250, 300 grand and buy 3 more properties. And honestly, just doing that. I'm not going to flip. I'm not going to do novations. I'm not going to do anything other than just what has been working until I can scale it.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Actually, what's funny is that you started 1 month. You said you started in December.
I tried December and then went full time. You know, no 9 to 5. Purely just going to my office in March of last year.
Yeah, so I started January, 1 month right after you did.
Yep.
I'm still not full time, by the way. So I still work my 9 to 5. But I like my 9 to 5.
And nothing's wrong with that. That's why it's not all about losing the 9 to 5. It's about doing what you love. And if you like what you're not doing, keep doing it.
Yeah, so for me, I like doing it, but the only way I'd take my 9 to 5 job out because I like doing it is if I got the rental properties to supplement that income.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. So to me, wholesaling is great and you make some good, fast cash with it, but you can't count on it being consistent. 100%. Do you agree? You agree?
No, 100%. Yeah. You can't. I mean, the only way to stay consistent with it is to continue to hustle. Lower your bills so that you can focus on the opportunity and the person that you're servicing versus just the money you're making. Because I get people asking me too, not like all the time, but like, hey, what kind of fee should you be charging? Or, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, there's no set fee. There's no set commission. Right. structuring a deal that's a win-win for both you, the seller. It's a win-win-win for you, the seller, and the buyer. And you can only realize that when you don't have any strings attached, and then you can maximize that for your seller. And then eventually it's a numbers game. You can do that multiple times. So that's kind of my goal. Is obviously wholesaling is a numbers game. It's a volume game. And you're only going to get there if you kind of detach yourself from the income. Like, of course, it's about the money on the back end.
Of course, it's about the money. Come on.
But structuring the deal is not about the money itself. It's about servicing other people to your highest and best. And if you can do that, you'll always make money. So it is about the money, but up front, it's not about the money. And that's kind of something that's changed for me. So it's just maximizing opportunities. But you got to get yourself in a position to do that. It's not easy, but I mean, if you stay consistent, things change quickly.
That's what you could say. There's one piece to your business. The one most important piece to your business, obviously besides you, okay, say a software, a tool, something like that. What is the most important thing to your business?
At this point, a CRM. I didn't have one when I first started, just because, I mean, and again, you don't need one when you first start either. Like, use an Excel spreadsheet. Don't go out and spend the money on all this stuff yet. But when you can and you're able to, get a CRM. Because I'll tell you that, like, once I did start to get deals in the pipeline, like this year, I mean, I'm closing this year, a third of my deals I'm closing this year are people that I've been talking to since last year or earlier this year and all that stuff. But the reason I'm not closing them is because things aren't falling through the cracks, because I have Podio. So I have everything in Podio, which for people who don't know what Podio is, it's a CRM. There is a free version of it. I have a $50 a month paid version that I use, but it's because I have other tools that integrate with it. But in the beginning, Podio is free, and it just allows you to basically, you have a house and you have everything inside the house, so that nothing falls outside of it, so that you can track call on there, your text if you're texting. All the notes on what you've talked about with the seller and when you talk to them and when you should set that next follow-up. I have my DocuSign connected to my Podio, so all my contracts are in that person's profile. My Dropbox is linked to that, right? So if I pull up, Randy Steadwell seller, I have everything you and I have talked about when we've talked about it. I have our purchase agreement in there. I have the Dropbox link to it. I have everything.